Ahoy and welcome, this is Admiral. In my last video, we briefly mentioned the rather overburdened Mediterranean architecture set, which holds the dubious distinction of being spread across the greatest number of civilizations. Some amount of compromise is necessary, of course, and the set is an excellent fit for the Italians, and reasonably good for the Portuguese, Western Romans, Sicilians, and Spanish, more or less. When it comes to the Byzantines, however, it's a bit of a stretch, and feels like butter scraped over too much bread. But we've still got to cover two more civilizations over 1,000 miles further east. And it's a bumpy ride where we nearly run out of butter by the time we reach Georgia and Armenia, which are not even nominally Mediterranean, and not the most fitting for that architecture set. It's certainly the best fit among the available options, but I know that the lack of a new set for them was disappointing to many, and further differentiation would be fantastic. And as a fan of the original Age of Empires, which despite being much less varied in terms of architecture, and with no unique civilization building graphics, nevertheless had different building sets for the Greeks and Romans. So even accounting for some medieval convergence, it feels strange for all of them, and more, to be lumped into a single set in AoE2. With the understanding that new sets are resource intensive and that this is a big ask, I think that a split of the so-called Mediterranean set, like a more Chinese-inspired mainland East Asian set, are at the top of the list of viable and high-demand new building sets. So let's look at a community mod that could give us some idea of the basis for such a split, namely the Byzantine Architecture mod, which is a port of an HD mod into DE by Superdomdom and Konstantinos or Basil II, with the original HD architecture by the unflatteringly named, but highly skilled, Katbarf. Some of you may have seen a review of this mod by Demon Age of Empires, who made a great video about it. As I understand, he is Greek and more knowledgeable about the relevant history and architecture than myself. Although it's worth noting that the mod creators have made considerable progress since then, with all assets now ported over except for the town center, and it is by very persistent request of one of the creators that I feature this topic. My inclination would be to have a new set to cover the Byzantines, Bulgarians, Georgians, and Armenians, with Byzantine architecture providing much of the inspiration, and the Armenians and Georgians already having their unique castles and monasteries. While on the topic of Georgians, I will once again ask for complete graphics for the Svan Tower, including destruction animations, with one obvious possible use case being that Georgian keep switch to the Svan Tower graphic once that technology is researched. Or if nothing else, they could at very least be a functional scenario and campaign object. Regardless of any possible architecture splits, Bulgarians should also receive a unique castle, like this example I found in HD by Lord Good. But let's get back to the Byzantine set, which might form the core of a new Balkan Caucasian set. This is not my particular specialty, but let's look at some highlights. Some features that stand out as matches with Byzantine architecture include the alternating horizontal light cream colored and darker brown stripes, and the greater use of domes and circular turrets, which are clear and iconic features of the Byzantine wonder, the Hagia Sophia, but are almost entirely absent from the current Mediterranean set. I especially like the tall house, which looks great and conveys a sense of the dense urban settlement of Constantinople and other large cities. Other standouts are the Orthodox monastery and castle, both of which are low-hanging fruit for Byzantine changes, even if they are not to be given a fully new architecture set. The blacksmith, market, and university are also impressive and unique. My only critiques are that some of the garrison flags ought to be adjusted, especially for the monastery, castle, market, and siege workshop, which I imagine will be updated in due course along with the addition of the town center. This is a data mod, meaning it doesn't replace the Mediterranean set for other civilizations, although that comes with the restrictions of being unavailable in multiplayer, except lobbies where everyone else has it enabled. Although it can be freely used in single player, and here, for example, I'm showcasing it with a modified version of the official scenario called The Siege, featuring Constantinople. It also can be used for campaigns, although it is considered a cheat and will not progress achievements. And to correct a mistake from the last video, the same is true of the Umkar mod. Also note that this mod is not supported in Ultra HD. I've little else to say that's not a repeat from my other video, but it's a great mod and could certainly serve as the inspiration for a split of the Mediterranean set that would be more fitting for Byzantines especially, but also for Bulgarians, Armenians, and Georgians. So I definitely recommend checking out this mod, and thanks again to the creators, Catbarf, Super Dome Dome, and Basil II. So those are my thoughts, but what do you think about a potential Mediterranean architecture split, and a Byzantine-inspired set to cover the eastern members of that large group? Does that rank high on your wish list, or do you think that unique castles and monasteries would be enough, with developer time better spent on other areas of interest? Either way, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. That's all for today, and thanks for watching. This has been me boasting the benefits of beautiful and believably Byzantine, Balkan, and Black Sea buildings. Till next time.